The English ambushed a Spanish treasure convoy off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia, 3 centuries ago. During the battle, a ship carrying billions of dollars in gold was lost. For decades, governments, politicians, tribes, and corporate businesses have fought for possession of the wealth in courts all around the world. Hey folks, welcome back to Dig World. We're here to bring you the most amazing discoveries from the archaeological world. Today, we'll show you one of the most terrifying discoveries underwater. So, let's begin. The opportunity to seize a great trove of treasure seems to bring out the worst in us: folly, greed, and treachery. The case of a Spanish galleon carrying a staggering bounty of gold illustrates these shortcomings. During a pitched battle, the entire fortune was lost to both sides, going down with the ship. Its modern discovery has provoked treachery from those who lusted for it, and the disposition of the riches continues to elicit the greed of parties across the globe. For more than 300 years, the San Jose has led men to misadventures. On June 8, 1708, a terrible naval event occurred off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia. Although accounts of this conflict are scarce, modern academics have put together some of the details. In the Caribbean Sea, a Spanish treasure fleet was gathering in preparation for the expedition to deliver treasures home to their monarch, Philip V. The Spanish treasure fleet was a commercial convoy that traveled regularly between Spain and its colonies in the New World. In 1706, one of these flotillas sailed from Spain and arrived in Cartagena. It carried commodities to be exchanged with traders from Peru's viceroyalty during a planned fair in Portobello, on Panama's east coast. The event was delayed for more than a year due to a lack of enthusiasm among Peruvian merchants, most likely due to hard travel under the threat of invasion by the English. A fair was finally conducted in May 1708, and the Spaniards collected millions of reals in gold, silver, jewels, and other goods. The Spanish set out for Cartagena, carrying the wealth from Portobello. This would be their penultimate port of call before sailing to Havana, where they would meet up with the rest of the fleet and additional escorts led by a French privateer. The combined fleet would then attempt to cross the Atlantic ahead of hurricane season. On June 8th, the Spanish were approaching Cartagena when they were halted by English commander Charles Wager, who had been cruising for months in anticipation of their arrival. Wager's fleet had 4 formidable vessels and a fire ship. The two sides spotted each other and prepared for war. The San Jose and Wager's expedition squared off, while the English Kingston engaged the San Joaquin. Around nightfall, the battle intensified. Both troops' fortunes deteriorated as a result of the ensuing disarray. The San Joaquin vanished in the night, and the English never found her again. They spotted her again in the morning, but she escaped capture and arrived in Cartagena with her riches intact. The convoy's less valuable commercial vessels also arrived in port. The English conquered Santa Cruz in the early hours of the morning. To avoid capture, the Spanish hulk was beached and destroyed. The battle's focal point was the San Jose encounter. For over an hour, she exchanged cannon fire with the expedition. The English ship locked its stores, preparing to board. The subsequent reports are somewhat jumbled. Many of the survivors agreed that the Spanish ship caught fire. Few of them recalled an explosion, but the San Jose sank so quickly that nearly all 600 men on board perished. The survivors just remembered being on the ship one minute and in the sea the next. Every ounce of gold was lost to the depths of the ocean. The Santa Cruz was the only British prize from the conflict, and it contained a few silver pieces of 8 but no gold doubloons. While the British starved the Spanish king, they did not enrich themselves. The captains of Kingston and Portland were eventually court-martialed for allowing the San Joaquin to escape intact. Surprisingly, both sides may see the outcome of Wager's action as a devastating loss. The drowned hoard of gold, silver, and emeralds became known as the Holy Grail of shipwrecks for decades. It was unreachable until submersible technology improved in the 20th century, as it lay in nearly 3,000 feet of water. In 1980, a private group of U.S. businessmen funded the first contemporary endeavor to locate San Jose. The Sea Search Armada has been granted authority to conduct searches in Colombian waters. They claim to have found the wreck a year later. The Colombian government was approached by SSA with an offer to divide the prize. The Colombian government first agreed to split the riches, with the government keeping 65% and the explorers receiving 35%. They, however, refused to enable SSA to salvage. The nation's parliament then broke the agreement and passed legislation granting itself 97.25% of the benefits. SSA filed a lawsuit in Colombian court and obtained a 50-50 split, but the Colombian government refused to follow its own court's order. SSA then filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, but lost. In the end, the SSA organization discovered only heartbreak. None of its investors will see a penny restored. The wreck was discovered in 2015 by a group of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute researchers and their robot submarine Remus 6000, working with an international team on board a Colombian ship. Colombia's president made the revelation public in 2015. Woods Hole was not permitted to provide any information about its involvement until 2018. This month's release of new video and still image shots of the wreck hint at the abundance of items still lying on the seafloor. Under a light sand cover, piles of gold coins and trinkets glitter. A field of excellent Chinese porcelain cups with crisp blue decorative patterns remains. Bronze cannons and clay pots were discovered atop mysterious treasure heaps. Colombia's current president has issued a statement regarding the treasure's protection and preservation. Despite these noble remarks, the Colombian government had just days earlier formally abandoned its previous arrangements for recovery, which they labeled as plunder or ransom. Several parties have already lined up to try to obtain the treasure that may finally be retrieved. The Spanish government claimed ownership of the sinking ship shortly after the announcement in 2015. This claim appears to be valid. However, because the wreck is located in Colombian national waters, Colombia's rights take precedence over Spain's. Parts of Colombia's government have claimed regulatory authority over the wreck and the treasure. Other branches of Colombia's government have indicated that retrieved goods that do not fall under the category of cultural heritage should be transferred to the national bank. The Quara and other pre-Spanish peoples have requested a portion, claiming that their forefathers were compelled to mine the metal for the treasure. President Ivan Duque said on Tuesday that 2 more shipwrecks had been discovered near the location where the San Jose galleon sank in the country's waters. We have already discovered 2 further vessels, one from the colonial time and another that, based on preliminary investigation, relates to the Republican period of our history, Duke stated at a press conference. On December 16, 2015, the Office of the Inspector General of Colombia requested that the state, as well as the other parties involved, be held accountable for keeping thorough archives regarding the exploration and intervention of the galleon, and that the archives be turned over to the Ministry of Culture, which is the governmental entity in charge of underwater cultural heritage. According to the Minister of Culture, 2016 will be a year of discovery, not extraction. According to the minister, Colombia views the finding as an investigative project that will necessitate the establishment of laboratories staffed by professionals from many fields in order to properly analyze the shipwreck and its contents. None of San Jose's gold has been found, more than 3 centuries after it was lost. Instead, we just have human greed. So, this was it for today, guys. We hope you enjoy our content. Like and share the video if you did. Subscribe to Dig World on Revealed Finds of the Universe for many more amazing videos. Stay tuned, as we'll be back soon with another informative video for your amusement. Till then, keep digging.